Hi.
Hi. That seems such an important place.
Oh, yeah, no.
Long time.
Hey, how
30 years.
are you?
I'm really well. Really well.
See you.
too. Hi.
Well, that movie scared the hell out of me.
Oh, good.
I guess my first question, it's not really a question, but Zelda. I'm just going to leave it there, Zelda.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know that was played by an actor, a male actor. That's kind of common knowledge, right, Andrew? That was genius casting. You know, that was just one of those moments, I think, that Mary was way outside the box and nailed it. I mean, she was reading some actresses, she was auditioning actresses, obviously, for, you know, a female role as my sister. And they were lovely, but they didn't capture this, you know, this otherworldliness that she was looking for. And how she came up with, well, yeah, let's cast it male. I don't know. It just is the thing that you know, takes it to another place.
I mean, the reason why I started with Zelda, because, like, out of many horror movies, there's many iconic things. Zelda is the one thing that I think, up and down the spectrum of what terrifies you, Zelda scares the shit out of everyone, no matter who they are in life.
Zelda's the thing that keeps coming back, you know? And you know, the great thing about Zelda is, you know, you're dealing with this, these family members, the cat, the son, these, you know, tragic relationships coming back from the dead. So this otherworldliness, and yet Zelda is very much of this world. So it's even more terrifying.
For this question, I want to say to this audience and to all of you, Miko Hughes, who's originally going to be here, had to back out today, but he wanted to give his love to you and to all of you and tell you thank you for celebrating Stephen King with him.
He has changed, by the way. He looks exactly like he was.
I said we wanted to show we didn't bury him at the right time.
He's just a little taller.
With that little velvet outfit and that top hat, to die for.
Correct me if I'm wrong in this, but from what I've read, he was 3 years old, right, when you were shooting this?
Started at 2.5.
Started at 2.5.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What was it like? What was it like on set with that little kid? Like, how much did he understand? Like, was he just a little sweetheart being fed these fucked up lines? Or like, what was this little kid like?
He's pretty bright. He and I had a special relationship. Sorry he's not here. I have to find him. He, like Danny Pintaro, there's something about the casting those young kids, they're beyond their years. He was easygoing for the first part of the movie, and when he had to come back from the dead, I'm not going to talk about that because it's real hard for me. He was brilliant, and he's, as I recall, Cherokee?
Part, yes,
Part
from his
Cherokee.
mom's side,
He's
yeah.
the youngest Cherokee to ever perform. There's a ceremony. Do you remember the details of that?
Mm-mm.
It's he can say this whole ceremonial speech, and he's the youngest Cherokee to ever do it. It must go on for like 20, 25 minutes. It's some amazing thing that he does, but he was a brilliant actor and lovely person.
Yeah, I think, again, Mary Lambert, I'm going to just keep saying her name because, you know, she did an amazing thing with casting Miko, and not an easy task. I mean, normally you would not cast a child. You would cast twins, you know, for children's performances. As you know, Ellie Creed was played by two twins. Just for the logistics. I mean, it's impossible. The hours are limited. You know, child labor laws prohibit you, and you make yourself, you know, go crazy. And the film is so centered around this child. But Mary was willing to endure the difficulties of working with just one child because she liked him so much and connected and got something and said, "You're the one." And you know, the fact that they allowed her, the producers allowed her to do that, and you know, is such a incredible, you know, as I many years in hindsight look back on just what a feat that really was in just the filmmaking itself.
I guess this is more of just, you know, a general question, but how did everyone here get involved in Pet Sematary? How did you find yourself being part of this project?
He hired me.
Actually, I got the call from my agent, and there was connecting tissue with Ralph Singleton and Tim Zinnemann, who were both basically off of Paramount and sort of at the center of organizing the front end of the show. Ralph had done One from the Heart and had been part of Zoetrope for a long time. And I believe he went on to direct the sequel to this, actually. And it was just you know, that was it. You get a call in the morning and figure it out, and there you are.
Well, I just auditioned for it. I came in and auditioned, and I guess Mary liked me.
She liked you dead.
She liked me dead.
It was those shorts. You had to try on some running shorts, as I recall, right?
Just the legs, you couldn't see.
Yeah.
No, you know, I had done a movie called The Bedroom Window that had come out the year before, and she was really impressed with that and my performance in that, and that certainly didn't hurt. But I, you know, just like any other job, I auditioned and I got the job, and didn't think they'd be able to make a deal, but I had this incredible agent. He made the deal while he was playing poker. I mean, that's the best time to negotiate a deal when you're playing poker, really. You push the envelope, and so. Anyway, that's all I got.
Wow. That's a good story. Stakes are high. Mary and I have a wonderful relationship, and it precluded Pet Sematary. Mary started out making music videos in the very, very, very early stages of MTV. I think MTV, it was the first year MTV was on, and I was in her very first music video. It was Judd Nelson and I, and we were in a music video for the Tom Tom Club called As Above, So Below. And it was, Mary had gone to RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design, with all of the talking heads. And so she was very good friends with David Byrne and Tina and Chris, and Tina and Chris made the Tom Tom Club, and so handed her this song, and she made a music video. And we really connected. And she said to me, one day we're gonna make a film. We're gonna make a feature film. You know, how many times I've heard that, you know? And it actually happening is, you know, less than one hand. But she went on to direct this, at the time, you know, unknown singer named Madonna, all of her music videos, and sort of rode the wave of just, you know, the go-to girl, and finally got her feature break. And I think her first film was Siesta, which is a really interesting movie if you guys ever catch it. And then her big studio break came with Pet Sematary. So she called me up and, true to her word, said, I've got a script and you'd be great. It's a Stephen King story, and I had read a number of Stephen King's books, a big fan. So it came down to me testing for it with Dale at Paramount, and that's what happened. And it's just one of those rare things that, you know, we actually did it.
I've always been curious in my opinion, of all the Stephen King adaptations, every single film one, this is the one that gets to you the most and is the most sinister and just really like pulls in emotion and horror in every single direction in every single moment. Like whether we're talking about Zelda or even, of course, the horrific moment, like when he's getting hit, when Miko gets hit by the truck. But throughout the thing, what did it feel like on set? Like, did you guys know you were making this terrifying and this like gut-wrenching of a film?
Well, I didn't. It was a low-budget horror movie, you know, and it was of course Stephen King's. The book was hugely popular, but I don't know. I don't think that horror at that time it was like starting to get the foothold that it has now. It wasn't what it is now. Back then, it was in the industry. It always felt like it was a little bit like, oh, you're doing a horror movie. That's too bad. That's too bad. You know, it was like, oh, you have to do a horror movie. Not entirely, but somewhat like that. It just wasn't the star that it is now. Now it's like it's a big deal. So it had a lot of, you know, it had this top-selling book by Stephen King, and it had a really great script that Mr. King had written, a script that Mr. King had written himself, which was all cool, but, you know, it was a low-budget movie, right? And for me, you know, it was a low-budget movie where I had to wear a lot of makeup.
So, two trees. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
One, Stephen, as I understood it, required that we shoot near his home. So it's sort of a cameo in the film as the preacher. The other was Fred Gwynn, who was a gift. He was a joyous gift of the whole experience from our point of view. He was open and sweet and inclusive, egalitarian, and an artist in his own right. Aside from his acting history and his Shakespearean training, he wrote and illustrated children's books and was gifting those on a personal basis, you know, drawings, and I was to have some of that stuff from Fred. It was a real privilege to have the opportunity to work with him. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
Oh God, yeah.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant in the movie and just a real joy.
People think of Fred Munster, but Fred Gwynn was somebody with range that, you know, just amazing.
The other thing, the feeling of this movie, for me, we were kind of, to be honest, at any moment thinking the plug was going to be pulled. I mean, to be honest. It was such a risky shot. You know, Mary being hired as the director, this film dealt with matricide, and that was and continues to be a very taboo subject, you know, rightfully so. And everybody kept thinking, even the people at Paramount, I don't know, we may have gone too far with this. The kid gets killed, and, you know, the thing, and the people are coming back from the dead, and then he kills his own mother. I don't know. I think people are not gonna, they're not gonna buy it. Then, you know, early on, within the first week of shooting, our director of photography was fired, who has gone on to, you know, shoot some of the biggest movies ever made, The Matrix, right? Spider-Man, Bill Pope, okay? He's legendary in the business. At that time, he was just starting out and a good friend of Mary's. They had shot many music videos together, and a great guy. And all of a sudden, he was gone, and the movie shut down. While everybody kind of sort of regrouped. And it was like, we may be all sent back, anytime soon. Like, I didn't fully unpack my suitcase until about a month in, did I think this was gonna happen. So it was an interesting energy.
Yeah, there were multiple visits from the suits. they were in and out, you remember?
Yeah, they started to fly in.
And Ralph and Tim, I mean, Tim is Fred Zinnemann's son, and I think his first gig was as a DJ trainee, or I think he was on Lawrence Parade. I mean, these guys had serious production history, under their belt as I think a support system for Mary, being new to this. But it was very edgy for quite a while. Very edgy.
And just because we sat here 2 hours ago, if you're still with us, Mark and I did Cujo as well, and we did a Q&A, and we also talked about the DP getting fired on that.
Same
the
thing.
first
Same thing.
Really?
Yes.
The very first couple days, they said, stop the bus, and we all shut down. There's a weird thing that happens on Stephen King movies. I don't know about the other ones. I did 2 and I'm done. I don't know what else happens.
Wow.
You know what? All movies I did in the 80s shut down after a week. All of them. They don't seem to now.
No.
But back then, it was all this, shutting down, are we still employed tomorrow? And then starting up with a whole new something. It was the decade, obviously.
Because this was one of the rare Stephen King adaptations where he actually adapted his own work and shot near his house, and obviously he has a very, very prominent cameo. Was he on set a lot during the shoot, or was he just wanted to be near his house?
We rehearsed, we got to Maine. Were you rehearsing with us at that point? No. So it was, I guess it was Dale, myself, Mary. I think Fred was there, and Stephen. So we were in just a little meeting room somewhere in where we were shooting, and we would just go page by page through the script for about 2 weeks, rehearsing, asking questions, changing lines if Stephen, felt this might work better. We might. I mean, he was very, very open, to anything any questions we had, any struggles we were having. So he was, I spent a good 2 weeks with him before shooting began. I just remember him with his, big skeleton head belt and his Joel Cola and his heavy metal, heavy metal station. I think he was
tall too.
Yeah. It was like, dude, this guy's got it going on. Now I can't keep up with you.
I mean, not quite heavy metal, but as we see in the movie, it's very dark and it's very sinister, but then it has 2 songs by the Ramones, which are almost very, very upbeat counterpoint. I know one's about the movie, but still, when you hear Pet Sematary, the song, it doesn't really invoke Pet Sematary, the movie. Were you guys aware the Ramones were going to be doing the song at any point, or was this after the fact?
Mary was very good friends with those guys. So she solicited Joey, who was really good friends with her.
That's great. I mean,
she's from that rock and roll, scene.
I mean, like I said, it's the perfect counterpoint, because like Will and I were watching the ending, and it's just like, God, this is so dark and just like mean and sad, and it's just like upbeat Ramones, and it's like, wow, this one.
Or Sheila, with the driver, the truck guy. Sheila is a punk rocker. I mean, it's so I forgot that until tonight, and I was like, oh, that's great. It's very punk. She's from that whole punk world.
That's awesome. So we're open up for some audience questions. Anyone got any? Can't see, I'm blind.
Can't see a thing.
Someone say up here.
Yeah,
up here, guy.
Denise, the final makeup appliance, and it was way more graphic than I remember. How long did that take, and how many takes did you do in it?
I'm so glad you asked that, because that was a reshoot. So it took about 4.5 hours for the original, shot in Maine, and we wrapped the movie, and came back to LA, and I got a call that we need to go back in and reshoot the end, that the studio wanted it even more grotesque. And that's a first. Usually it's like, that's too much, let's take it down a notch. So they wanted it, so all that oozing, you know, they wanted more of that. And it, you know, God, it was so interesting because when I was in the makeup, getting made up again in Maine, the first time it took, 4.5 hours, and one eye was completely, had, latex over it, prosthetic, so I could only see out of one eye. So someone was leading me to the set, and Mary hadn't come into peak, or, she really gave all the freedom to Lance and David to do the special effects makeup. So when I was brought in, it was the first time she was seeing me. And her face, she just went, oh, I can't. She's from Arkansas, so she has a little accent. Oh, Niecy, I can't even look at you like that. I can't. I said, Mary, you got to direct the scene, okay? Just, it's okay. This isn't real. And she was very emotional. It's really sweet. We're on to something.
All right, we're going to take one more question, and then, again, I'm going to ask everyone, please do not rush in front with us. Your Will and I are strong young men. By the way, it's after midnight. It's Will's birthday.
Happy birthday!
But, so please, if the cast and crew will be out in the lobby, you can talk to them there, but just don't rush us in. So one last question, you right there, because I can see you.
What was it like working with the animals, like, church and everything? And, like, how did they do the scenes, like, where they put her to sleep and everything with the...
Herding cats.
I mean,
There were like 6 or 7 churches, and each church could do one thing. Like there was growling church, there was purring church, there was eating church, there was sleeping church. They were amazing. They were British sterlings. They were called British sterlings, and I got a kitten at the end of the shoot. Yeah. So I have baby church. I called it cathedral. Mary got me a kitten for the wrap party.
That's awesome. Very cool. Thank you.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, guys, I hope you stick around. We have a gorgeous, because not many theaters other than us want to play it because they're fools. But we have a gorgeous 35mm print of Graveyard Shift coming up after a short bathroom break. But please help me give a round of applause, please.
Thank you guys for coming.